I've worked in human services and social services for over 20 plus years. Started as a volunteer in the HIV prevention and education field, and then moved over to housing and worked with families who were in transitional housing and different issues around poverty and food insecurity. So our family lived in Fairfax City, and my kids were attending Fairfax City schools. My husband worked for a company, for Verizon, before the big Verizon layoff, and I worked for that local nonprofit, and everything was going well. We were taking care of my grandmother, we were living there, and then things started to go sideways when Verizon had their big layoff. We were struggling also to pay for childcare. We made too much that we didn't qualify for any type of subsidy, but we didn't make enough to afford it. So that's when we really started seeing things happen, where we started to experience things like food insecurity here and there, and having to ration diapers and things here and there for when our boys were younger. And then before you know it, like a drip, it just became this big river, and we lost everything. We went from being volunteers to on this side needing services, which when you're in social service and human service field, it's really challenging to be on this side if you were already on that side. So I call our family the fortunate homeless, because while we experienced homelessness, we weren't on the street experiencing homelessness or in a shelter experiencing homelessness. We were able to go from the house that we were losing into Bridging Affordability program, which is a transitional housing program that Fairfax County at that time ran. And by the time the program concluded, because there is a maximum limit you can stay in the program, we were able to secure a voucher. And it was the voucher that ultimately led to us being here. And we've been trying to rebuild ever since. The housing program has really helped my family. It saved our lives. I was constantly stressed out during the twins' pregnancy. I was in the hospital for most of their pregnancy because of their condition. And to be in the hospital knowing you're homeless, not knowing what's going to happen, was really stressful. And I was constantly on edge. My family was on edge, my boys, my husband. And so it allowed us to take a breath. It has allowed us to make plans again. It has allowed us to come so far. We're still dealing with the aftermath. We're not out of the woods, and then of course everybody got set back with COVID, but we've come a really long way. And I think what people need to remember is when people have safe, stable, affordable housing, then they can start to make plans. Then they can go to school. Then kids can thrive. Then families can work on those other things that so many people take for granted. And that's really important, and it's a basic human right to have that access.